Dear distinguished guests, ladies, gentlemen, and professors and academic staffs of our university, and also dear lovely students, you are all welcome to Ambassador Speaks to Us, which is organized by the Istanbul Commerce University Rectorate and the Center for Regions, Neighboring Countries and the Regions. You are all welcome our distinguished event. Today, we are very happy to see and very special guest today, Mr. Consul General of Pakistan to Istanbul, dear Bilal Han Pasha. You're welcome, Mr. Consul General.
Thank you very much. Hoş bulduk.
Thank you very much. And this program will continue by the speech of our distinguished rector, Professor Dr. Yücel Oğurlu, of a welcoming. Then we will continue our conversation with the presentation of Mr. Bilal Han Pasha about the Turkey, and here now we are calling Türkiye and Pakistan relations within the friendship perspective and regional development. And now I would like to kindly introduce our distinguished rector, Professor Dr. Yücel Oğurlu, for his welcoming speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Uğur Bey. Dear Pakistan's Consul General in Istanbul, dear faculty members, our students, and valuable people who watch us from social media. We are here with a new series of events to which we invited ambassadors and diplomats organized by the neighboring and surrounding countries application and research center, which was established within our university. Today, we are hosting a highly respectful person, Your Excellency Bilal Khan Pasha, Consul General of Pakistan, which is a very important country for Turkey, and also Tuna Çakar, the consular officer. It's great honor for us to invite those great persons and to host them at our university, even via Zoom program. It's great honor for us. Also, Mrs. Tuna is a graduate of our university. This is another side of this pleasure for us. I wish him success. I wish her success in her career journey also. Pakistan is a very important country for us. The ancestors of Turks and Pakistanis represent the common heritage of Ghaznavids, Baburids, and Turkish Mughal Empire. After this thousands years of common history, we recently, when the Anatolian land invaded by the other powers during the Ottoman times, First World War, Pakistanians that times they were called as Indian Muslims, but today, namely Pakistanis who lived in Indian lands at that time, they gave us very big support, and our struggle for independence started in Anatolia. They were with us with all their wealth, with all their prayers, and with all their good intents. Even some Indian Muslims came to the front as frontiers. They joined this war with us. Today, we still express Pakistan's support and convey our gratitude to them. We did not forget this, and we will not forget forever. On the other hand, the national struggle with the resistance movement that started Anatolia and the subsequent establishment of Turkey also inspired Pakistan. And Pakistan gained its independence after a short while, approximately 25 years later. I wish the independence of the two friendly countries continues forever. I know that independence is the most important character of nations. In our event, we will talk about Pakistan-Turkey relations. We have been maintaining close relations and cooperations in many fields, such as politics, economy, social and cultural fields, and defense, since it is establishment with Pakistan, which is among the developing countries with a population of more than 200 million people, and since they are our close brothers. Turkey was among the first countries to recognize Pakistan during this independence time, and it continued with economic and political relations constantly. The two countries, which are also connected by the ties of brotherhood, have always supported each other in natural disasters such as floods and earthquakes. The two countries show exemplary solidarity by taking the same stance on the problems of the Muslim world to a large extent, with same reflexes. This solidarity, which continues on all international issues, especially on some international conflicts like Cyprus issue and Kashmir issue, it is very important to be in solidarity. The images of the sport visit prime ministers of two countries during the Bosnian War. They visited Sarajevo together. As I remember, Schiller and Bhutto visited together in 19th. Economic relations between the two countries are constantly increasing. We are very pleased to see you. We know that the investments made from Turkey to Pakistan have exceeded $2.5 billion. It is very important, but of course it is not enough. The export and import must be mutually, and it must be increased up very rapidly according to our wish. The trade volume is also constantly growing. We see this. Since our esteemed guests will provide extensive information on these subjects, I'm sure, I complete my words here with your permission. Once again, I would like to thank the Consul General Bilal Khan Pasha and Consular Officer Tuna Çakar for accepting our invitation. And I would like to thank our center manager, Uğur Yasin Bey, and to all center members and the friends who organized the program. The activities of Istanbul Commerce University will continue. Please follow us. I can say this. As the last words, I would like to say, Jiva Pakistan and Turkey, and Zindabad Pakistan and Turkey. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, dear Professor Dr. Yücel Oğurlu, distinguished lecturer of our university. And it was also a pleasure for us to listen the political economy and the strength political relations between two countries with the introduction speech of our rector. Thank you very much. It is very pleasure. Yeah. And here it is very pleasure at his mentioning that Tuna Çakar was also a graduate student of political science and international relations at our department. She was a friend of me also. We are very happy to organize this event together with the friendship and also strong contribution with this deep connection between two countries also. Thank you very much again for this introduction speech. Now, I would like to continue with the introduction of the Consul General Bilal Khan Pasha, and then his kindly presentation will start. And now I would like to kindly introduce Mr. Consul General. Mr. Bilal Khan Pasha is a career civil servant for the last 22 years and assumed his responsibilities as Consul General of Pakistan to Istanbul, Turkey in January 2018. Prior to this assignment, he was serving as Joint Secretary, Director General Foreign Trade in the Ministry of Commerce and Textile, Islamabad. In addition to that, he was also serving as a secretary to the Board of Administrators of Export Development Fund, which is a dedicated fund set up by Government of Pakistan for promotion of exports and trade related to human resources for export development skills. He has previously served in various positions in Ministry of Commerce, Trade Development Authority of Pakistan, and also Veteran Power Development Authority and Pakistan Institute of Trade and Development. He has also served at the Embassy of Pakistan in Abu Dhabi and the Consulate General of Pakistan in Dubai as commercial consular for 6 years. And here you can see, here we are going to listen with this experience with the reflections to the Turkey and Pakistan relations. Here the stage is Mr. Consul General is Bilal Pasha. Thank you very much. The stage is yours, Mr. Consul General.
Thank you very much, Dr. Uğur Yasin Asal, if I'm correct in pronouncing your name. Thank you very much for a very generous introduction, by the way. So I'm grateful. But first of all, I'm very grateful to the Honorable Professor Dr. Yücel Oğurlu'nun, I mean, my brother, who motivated me and our team to be with them for this diplomatic talk series. And I feel privileged, honored to present the perspective which we have mentioned, the Turkey-Pakistan friendship perspective, and of course the historical evaluation of this bilateral relation, as well as what is happening right now, and in the end what lies ahead. So of course we'll have I'll try to briefly summarize the points which especially Dr. Yücel have mentioned, that the relations are not something which started in 1947 when we got independence. It basically transcends into the centuries old relations. And I have some very interesting evidence for that, and I'll share that evidence with you. So if you permit, I'll start the presentation.
Sure, leisurely.
Please.
Thank you. So I hope the screen is visible now.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, thank you.
We can see it clearly.
Right. So once again, grateful to the Istanbul Ticaret University. By the way, we also say the same word in our national language, Urdu, that is Ticaret. Ticaret is the same in Urdu as well as same in Turkish. So I'm very happy to be, I think this is the other one. Mr. Hanim, if it change, yeah, okay. Right. So I'll go back and just a minute. I think this is the other one. If you will permit, because the presentation was there. So just if you can.
Your Excellency.
Yes.
Yes, as you said, during this preparation, I would like to give some information about Urdu and Turkish common words. As I know, we have thousands of words, common words. They are,
I think more than 6,000 words.
6,000, yeah. It is
more than that, yeah.
It is fascinating. It's fascinating. Probably pronunciation of these words can be different, phonetically can be different, but they are same in roots, and when it is written in old letters, we can see they are exactly the same. Such as you said now, Ticaret.
Ticaret, yes, Ticaret. And some words are very, I try to learn those words. Even some words are like, Mohabbat, Adalat, Shujaat, so Kismat also, and also Kismat. Okay, anyway, so sorry for this little introduction. I'll start again, and just a minute. I can, claim to be a little bit of trade economist, but for the technology, I'm still a novice. I'm still trying to learn.
No, it's same for us.
So, but anyway, this is how you.
Now we can see the first page.
Okay. But let me enlarge the screen. Okay. Just a minute. I think the screen is not getting bigger, so
it is not important. It is very clear to read.
Yes.
Are you sure? Because I wanted to have this bigger one, but somehow, if you can just permit me.
I think you can use the signs below at the right side, bottom.
Yes.
I think
It's
not
okay.
sure.
Yes, exact. Now
It is okay now.
So
It's
this this turns you into my real hojam.
Astaghfirullah.
Right,
You are
right.
welcome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. So, but somehow I don't know. I have not been able. Yeah. Oh, it's coming again. So, if you will just permit me for a minute. I'm so sorry for this trouble, but
no, it doesn't
No.
be a problem for us.
Okay.
Please feel free.
Yes.
This is something I think, yeah. Okay, so
Yes, it is now full screen.
it's not full screen. Okay. Okay.
And then,
So without wasting any time, let me then start.
okay.
I'll just present this historical overview, and it's basically divided into three portions. First of all, this historical and pictorial overview of Turkey-Pakistan relations, and then it will contain salient features of our bilateral relations. Of course, like the Honorable Rector has mentioned, the spectrum of relationship is very diverse. It's very broad. It's very, it's something, of course, which is evolving over the last decades, centuries. But this is something which is very, which has a lot of mutual bonds and synergies. Then, of course, this bond or these synergies have to be followed by the institutional mechanism, because only through good institutional mechanism, the two countries can have long-lasting relationship. Like the Hojam mentioned, the economic and trade relations, of course, these are the cornerstone of our relation, and much needs to be done still. We'll discuss in the presentation ahead. And of course, one of another cornerstone of our bilateral relation is our defense and security cooperation, followed by some other dimensions of our bilateral relations. I'll just have a few words on the current global and the regional trends, which especially the two countries are witnessing surrounding in our region. Of course, globally, we are facing a lot of new trends, a lot of new challenges also, which equally affect the two nations, the two brotherly nations. And then, of course, we'll have some question and answer session if there is time enough for that. So we'll start with the relations in history. And as Honorable Hojam mentioned, that historical relations predate the Mughal period, Seljuk period, and of course, during the Ottoman Caliphate, the relationship actually, in fact, it got into it cemented a lot. And there was a lot of movements between, be it in terms of trade, people-to-people contact, or the utilization of the expertise of our craftsmen, technicians, skilled workforce, or even the soldiers also. And it had a lot of impact on developing this common language. And of course, it has a lot of impact on our culture, traditions, food, culinary, and a lot of traditions. Then, of course, after the independence of Pakistan in 1947, and as the Honorable Rector has mentioned, Turkey was one of the very few countries who recognized Pakistan at the very beginning. So, and then, of course, we had our alliances during the Cold War. And then, of course, he's mentioned Cyprus this in 1974. The support lent by the Pakistan, but before that, the Turkish government lent full support to Pakistan in its war with India in 1965, which I will mention in the presentation. Then, of course, the recent issues, the challenges which we are facing right now, we will have some discussion on that, and especially I'll devote a few minutes on this the problem of this Islamophobia, xenophobia, which is now posing quite a lot of challenge to both the nations. And of course, the honorable, no presentation could be completed if I don't mention the role of Honorable President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and the role of AK Party in further cementing this excellent bilateral relation. So, like Hojam mentioned, that the trade used to be the linking point between these two regions, the Ottoman region at that time, and of course the Indian, the subcontinent that we call that region. But it transcended beyond that. Of course, these were the Silk Route caravans which originated from China, the then Chinese territory. Then, of course, as those trade routes, basically these trade routes have been documented, and I'm just presenting a very brief summary of that. So these trade routes were quite active, and like I mentioned in some of my previous discussion, that when I was visiting Azerbaijan, I saw a place, it's called Multan Sarai. So Multan is a place somewhere here in Pakistan. It's one of the very important Sufi cities of Sufi, which is a very important and famous city for the Sufi saints. So a lot of people who originated from Multan, they used to visit this particular territory, and then they, of course, carried out the things by utilizing this trade route onwards to the Europe. So we have a lot of historical common heritage alongside these routes. And this is something which we found from the Ottoman Imperial Archive. This was during the time of Sultan Ahmad I, the Ottoman Sultan, and during his tenure, his regime, his ambassador. This photo basically depicts the ambassador of the Ottoman Empire presenting his credential to the Mughal emperor in 1610. So this painting was basically commissioned by the Mughal court, and later on this painting was gifted to that ambassador, and luckily that painting has survived the tests of time, and it still is available. And this, by the way, actually documents that how the great empires were in contact and were having very good relations. Like the Honorable Hojam has mentioned, that not only during the Ottoman Empire, of course, during the Ottoman Empire and the wars which the Ottoman army fought, like in Turco-Russia War in 1878, this is some of the documentary evidence. I'm sorry that this evidence is in Urdu, is in some of that is in Arabic, but that evidence basically shows the. I think the slide is not mentioned. The next slide is there. Yeah. Okay. Right. Sorry. So. Right. So I think now you can see the slide. Yeah.
Yes, we can see it. And we can see some.
Because I think I'm speaking fast and slides are coming a little bit later. So I was basically referring to this slide. That this basically documents the evidence that the Muslims from the subcontinent were participating in many of the wars which were being fought by the Ottoman army. So this is one with regard to the Turko-Russia war in 1878. And now this is the next slide, which is coming, I think, which is visible on your screen.
Yes, we are seeing the
Visible.
soldiers.
Okay, right. In this portrait, basically, this is a medical mission sent by the Muslims of the subcontinent during the Balkan Wars in 1912. And this gentleman who is encircled red is called Mr. Abdurrahman Peshawari. He preferred to stay back in Turkey, and he was appointed as the Ottoman Empire's first ambassador to Afghanistan, as a first ambassador from the subcontinent, who was given this honor and privilege. And by the way, his grave is in Istanbul. So at some other point of time, we will also discuss how this, we call in Pakistan him as Turk Lala. So how this Turk Lala contributed towards the last regime. Then, of course, this is something that the Mufti of Istanbul, he issued a fatwa that all the Muslims should join hand, and of course, the Muslims for the subcontinent, they were in the forefront, and these were the famous Muhammad Ali brothers, who led a very strong, robust, and vibrant campaign all across the Indian subcontinent, and they gathered all the Muslims on one platform, and they fought for the Khilafat movement at that time. So this is something the Honorable President has mentioned about the last Ottoman Empire, if you can listen.
Milli şairi Muhammed İkbal bu gerçeği şu şekilde ifade ediyor. Osmanlıların üzerine bir keder dağı yıkılmışsa sen hiç üzülme. Çünkü şafak 100.000 yıldızın kanı dökülmeden sökmez diyor. Evet, Muhammed İkbal'in dediği gibi Kurtuluş Savaşı'nda bu milletin istiklali için binlerce yıldızın, binlerce yiğidin, binlerce şehidin kanı döküldü.
So I don't need to translate this, and I think he well represented the emotions and, of course, the quoting of the national poet, which is equally popular and famous in Turkey and Iran, of course, in all the Circulation Belt. I'll be giving more details later. And by the way, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk was the favorite of our founder, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and he, in fact, once immediately, like I mentioned, after his death in 1938, our founder Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he immediately issued instruction that the next Friday will be served as the Friday for the to remember the Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. So this was his love and emotional attachment to the Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, and this was during the time when we didn't get our independence. So he was basically idealizing a lot the philosophy of that the movement and the struggle. Now, like I mentioned before, that Iqbal, our national poet, his spiritual hojam, spiritual instructor or teacher was Maulana Rumi, and he wanted to and he wished his desire that whenever he died, he should be buried near the tomb of Maulana Rumi. Of course, that wish couldn't be fulfilled, but to honor his wish, there is a memorial and of Iqbal, and there is and you can see that it's in Konya, and that shows the love and respect our national poet has got in Turkey. Of course, the relationship started in 1947, like the Honorable Rector has mentioned. These are some of the news clippings we were able to find during those particular time period in 1947, 1948, and onwards. I'll just pass through quickly because we have some other important topics to cover. So this is basically the first ambassador of Turkey, Mr. Yahya Kemal. He is presenting his credential to our founder, Qairaza Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and they had a very good discussion, followed by our ambassador, who is now visiting Ankara and presenting his credentials. And all these things have been documented. By the way, I'll share this presentation with the university, and of course, I would love to have any follow-up question or discussion on these important facts of the history. But to our good luck, most of those facts have been documented, recorded, and we have all that evidence with us. And of course, this relationship continues. And the first friendship treaty between Pakistan and Turkey was signed in 1951. So that was, let's say, the beginning of that institutional relationship between the two countries. It got that official recognition in 1951 when the two countries signed a friendship treaty. And that later followed by the visits of the presidents and the prime ministers of the two countries to each other as early as 1952, 53. Like in this picture, the Governor General of Pakistan, Ghulam Mohammadi, is paying his visit to Turkey, and the Turkish Prime Minister Adnan Menderes, he's receiving him. Then followed by the visit of our Prime Minister to Turkey in 1954. And then the series of visits continue. I'll just quickly pass through this. It's a very important, this is very important historical document, which we also have now published in a series of Pakistan during the 70-year commemoration of the diplomatic relation. And we have that available in a book also, which is both in English and Turkish. So the visits continued, and this is very important. This is very significant picture, which really is very dear to me. This is a picture dated 22nd August 1962. There's a student from Pakistan who came to Turkey on vacation for tourism, and his name was also Asmat Inonu. So he met with the then Turkish Prime Minister Ismet Inonu, and when he informed him that my name is also Ismet Inonu, so he is just hugging that Pakistani student and greeting him. So I'm also, by the way, Pasha, and I also feel the same way for myself in Turkey. Anyway, but this is something which is very important, and which really, it holds a lot of significance for me as well. Now, of course, this series of visits continued, and this is a poem written by the Turkish army officer for the Pakistani nation, for the Pakistani soldiers who were fighting a war in 1965. And it's a beautiful poem, and I will leave that over here, but this reflects the emotions of the Turkish nation towards Pakistan during the times of during the times of war, during such turbulent times. This is Suleiman Demirel. He is laying the wreath to the grave of our national poet Allama Iqbal in 1967. And then this is very important. For our capital was shifted from Karachi to Islamabad in early 60s, and the government of Pakistan at that time wanted to have a national monument and they issued a tender in the international press. And incidentally, that tender was won by Mr. Vedat Dalake, and he was basically one of the finest, I think, the architect, not only in Turkey but in the world at that time. So he won that award, and he was given the award for this for building this Faisal Mosque in Pakistan, which you can see in the picture as well. So the national symbol, the national monument of Pakistan, is basically designed and constructed by a Turkish architect. And of course, the relationship continues. This is a statement as well as the official statement by the then Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, in 1974 on July 21st, if you can see on the screen, in which he mentioned that Pakistan stands by Turkey in its decision to fulfill the legal obligations in accordance with the 1960 agreement, and Pakistan will render all possible assistance to Turkey in all circumstances. Look at the language, this is something which is very, in diplomatic terms, it's a very strong language. And basically that reflects the intensity of our emotions and our support during this Cyprus war. And this is in continuation of that. Then, of course, the visits continue, and in 70s, in 80s, with our Prime Minister, Ms. Motorma Benazir Bhutto, and then, like the Honorable Hojam mentioned about Tansu Çiller, so the two female prime ministers, the prime minister of the two Islamic countries, they were there together and sharing good memories. Ms. Benazir Bhutto in Istanbul at the mausoleum of Hazrat Ayub Ansari, and of course the Turkish dignitary inaugurating projects in Pakistan. And this thing has continued from Najmuddin Arbakan, and then of course it goes as far as to Bülent Ecevit, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and this is during the time of earthquake in Pakistan. The Turkish Kızılay and Turkish NGOs and organizations, they were at the forefront of helping us, facilitating us during this time of calamity. The visits continued. By the way, in the last 2 decades, there has not been a single year when either the president or prime minister of the two countries have not visited each other, not even a single year, at least in the last 2 decades. So this is something which is marvelous, which is something which is very unique in the relationship of our two countries. So this thing continues, and it's, of course, not only the officials who are seeing each other, but of course it's the parliamentarians, the other community, the business people, the leaders, the collaboration between the NGOs and other organizations. Our prime minister now, and at that time a member of parliament, he was having a meeting with the honorable, the then prime minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan in 2012. So, and this thing continues. This is as recent as I think two years back, when the new Istanbul airport was inaugurated, and you can see the president of Pakistan over here, and the jointly inaugurating the new Istanbul airport. Of course, this it's not only during the visits, but we have many other dimensions of our relationship. This is the commemoration of Kemal Atatürk anniversary, and it's being shown in different postage stamps issued first day issues of the Pakistan Post, and likewise the same it's in Turkey. Important histories, important personalities, and important historic events and monuments have been reflected and quoted on the stamps of the two countries. By the way, Istanbul University holds record. I mean, this is very important for us because the Urdu department of the Istanbul University, it was founded in 1915, even before the independence of Pakistan. So just 6-7 years back, we held a 100-year commemoration of that establishment of Urdu department, where the Urdu language is being taught. By the way, in Pakistan, in Namal and many universities, Turkish language is also being taught to the Pakistani students. And this is, naming certain very important roads and avenues in our capital, in our capitals rather, on the names of our founders, like in Atatürk Avenue in Pakistan, Islamabad, and then Jinnah Caddesi in Ankara. So, and this is something which our NGOs try to establish some institutes, some schools in Turkey, and likewise the Turkish NGOs, they have established philanthropist organizations, they have established certain institutes, technical institutes in Pakistan. This is a very famous road in Pakistan, and on that road and the main conjecture, you can find a chalk which we call, the crossing, and that crossing is named as Istanbul crossing, the Istanbul chalk, and this is signified by this very beautiful piece of architecture. Now I'll come to the institutional mechanism, which is which forms the basis of the official and diplomatic relation between the two countries. This bilateral mechanism is at a very highest level, and it is basically governed under a high-level strategic cooperation council. Then this is also followed by the Joint Ministerial Commission. And then there is a dialogue between the foreign minister level, foreign secretary level, and then there is a very high level military dialogue also. Under this high level Strategic Cooperation Council, one of the landmark achievement was the signing of the Strategic Economic Framework last year in February 2020 during the visit of Honorable President of Turkey to Pakistan. Basically, that Strategic Economic Framework is a very important document having 71 action points, and those points relate to almost all spheres of our cooperation, be it trade, commerce, investment, defense, cooperation in the water sector, in the energy sector, in cultural sector, telecommunication, everything. So it's a very important document which covers the whole spectrum of Turkey-Pakistan relations. This bilateral consultation mechanism at the working level is, of course, we have a lot of collaboration in the disarmament and the non-proliferation issues, United Nations matters, counterterrorism matters, and then there is a joint commission against international terrorism and organized crime. And then, of course, we have a bilateral consultation mechanism on various regional issues also. And at the multilateral level, we are part of this Heart of Asia Istanbul process, which was basically established to ameliorate the Afghan peace process. Then, of course, we have many trilaterals like Pakistan, Afghanistan, Turkey, Pakistan, Turkey, and Azerbaijan. And then, of course, Pakistan, Turkey, and Malaysia. We are also members of ECO. Basically, ECO was previously the RCD, Regional Cooperation for Development, and Turkey, Iran, and Pakistan were the founding members. Now ECO has 10 members. And of course, we three are the main, the original founding members. Then the D8, Developing 8. I'll just say a few words in the later slides on these important organizations. Now, in the economic and trade relations, this is something very important. And honestly, I mean, the trade, the relations, basically these form the very basis of further cementing the ties. And this is something which is very important, not only in the context of the trade between the two countries, but it also, because if we have good trade relations, these relations have significant spillover impact on our region also. And we are just neighbor, I mean, Pakistan, then Iran, and then Turkey. So it is very important to understand the actual dynamics of what is happening in this region, especially in the context of trade and investment relations. Now, the trade relations in 2011, if you can see from the graph, it crossed $1 billion, that psychological mark, with our exports touching around 870 million, Turkish exports 213 million. Somehow, due to certain issues, primarily because of high duties, and why high duties on some of our products, because Turkey is also, mashallah, very competitive in those products. So due to the imposition of high duties on those particular items in textiles, footwear, leather, and agriculture item, the trade from 2011 onwards has witnessed a little bit of decline, which became quite significant in the last 2-3 years. On the other side, the Turkish exports, mashallah, have been growing from 213 million in 2011. These have grown to 620 million last year in 2020. And this year, it is expected that the Turkish exports will touch around $700 million. On the other side, our exports hopefully will recoup, because last 1.5 years, both countries have been facing this. Of course, the whole world is facing this COVID phenomena challenge, but mashallah, the trade between the two countries has resumed since the second quarter of this year. So hopefully, we'll touch that barrier of $1 billion bilateral trade this year in 2021. By tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last working day of this year. So hopefully the next week we'll get the results. But I'm very hopeful that the Turkish and Pakistani bilateral trade will inshallah cross $1 billion mark. But there is one flip side also. Look at the Turkish share in Pakistani imports. It's just 1.2%. I'm just referring to this 2020 data. So in our global imports, the Turkish share is just 1.2%. And likewise, rather in a more significant manner, Our share in Turkish imports is just 0.15%. So that shows the huge potential which still exists between the two countries, despite they are having similar, let's say, product range, but still there is a lot of scope in intra-country trade, which I think I'm sure your students are very well aware of. These are some of the important products which we trade. That these are the top 10 Pakistani exports to Turkey. I've just given a comparison. What was our exports in 2010? What was our exports in 2019? Primarily, the constituent of our exports almost remain the same. It's heavily dependent on textiles, some chemicals, and surgical goods, instruments, sports goods, some home textiles, and some leather items. So primarily in just 4 or 5 sectors. There is a need to diversify our basket, which Turkey, mashallah, has done very successfully in the last few years. And if you can see, the Turkish exports of machinery, iron and steel, medical equipment, high-tech medical equipment, some plastics, electronics, and other items have grown by leaps and bounds. And if we speak in terms of HS code, we see a lot of Turkish products having crossing that threshold of $1 million trade in the last few years. Those are, let's say, more than 200-300 products, whereas in the case of Pakistan, those are just 30 and 40 products which have been able to cross that threshold. So in fact, we need to do more. And how can we do more? If we conclude a bilateral free trade area agreement. If we can do that, the products between the two countries will hopefully face no barriers, no tariff barriers, and hopefully no non-tariff barriers also, which are equally important in the present world. So the two countries have been in discussion on having this bilateral trading arrangement since 2004. And then it was previously for the PTA, but then in 2014, the two countries decided to convert that PTA into FTA. Up till now, 7 rounds have been held, but somehow the progress could not be to the level which was desirable. So during the Turkish president's visit to Pakistan in 2020, it was then decided that let's have a joint scoping study, and that scoping study will then finalize the potential items on which we can immediately start giving tariff concessions. And we can, of course, wait for the final FTA for, let's say, in the few months or years ahead. But the products on which there is no difference amongst the trade officials of the two countries. So let's conclude a small, let's say, PTA, which we in technical terms called as early harvest program. So let's conclude that. And that joint scoping study has been completed. Products have almost been finalized. We are very hopeful that during the next high-level visit of the Prime Minister of Pakistan to Turkey next year, inshallah, in the first quarter, hopefully, this early harvest plan will be signed. And at least on those few hundred items, there will be exchange of tariff concession between the two countries, and it will give some impetus to the existing bilateral trade. Reason for low trade volume, I have just very briefly mentioned, is primarily the import duties, and we have matching export product structure. Somehow the focus of our business community, both in Turkey as well as in Pakistan, is towards Europe, towards America. So in some way, they are competing in those important markets. But as I mentioned before, there's a lot of potential for intra-industry trade. There's a lot of denim coming from Pakistan, but being stitched in Turkey. So similarly, a lot of textile chemicals, dyes, and machinery is going from Turkey to Pakistan. So I can safely say that the potential is there. We just need to work more. We just need to have more research. We just need to explore each other's market more. We need to have more trade delegations, more B2B interactions in the coming year. Of course, there's one very important issue, which is about the logistics connectivity, which I will give details later, but this has been another deterring factor in our improvement of bilateral trade. In the security and defense side, we have, mashallah, an excellent collaboration. Some of the details I have mentioned in the slide, but suffice it to say that Pakistan is one of the largest recipient of the Turkish military hardware, especially in, like I mentioned, that the Milgem Corvette. It's one of the largest foreign orders for Turkey. It's one of the and very important for us also. So there is a lot of collaboration between the militaries of the two countries, Navy, Air Force, Army, and this defense cooperation has been growing. And it is basically the need of the hour to reduce our dependence on the technology, on, let's say, the procurement, which the two countries receive from West, and we should rely on our indigenous resources, on our indigenous human resource and skills, and and we need to build upon the precious assets which we have. This is a picture from the signing during the handing over ceremony of the Turkish Museum to Pakistan. Like I've mentioned, there are other dimensions of our bilateral relations, not only trade and commerce or investment or defense, but also in the spheres of cultural delegations, cultural exchanges. In education also, there are a lot of students, Pakistani students now in Turkey. There are students from Turkey in Pakistan also. So there's a lot of collaboration in the educational sector. The universities have signed memorandums amongst each other, and of course in the sports sector also, we are also having a lot of collaboration. So there are many other dimensions of our bilateral relations. The current global and regional trends, I'll just mention very briefly that these are the trends which we are witnessing. Which at least me as a diplomat, I have been witnessing in the last few months now. And especially what we have been witnessing is this erosion of multilateralism. In fact, it's some kind of a resurgence of, another cold economic war, which is now taking place in different dimensions. And there is, of course, an increasing tendency towards unilateral use of force, which we have witnessed by some of the so-called superpowers. And the very important thing is this rise in xenophobia, and particularly the Islamophobia. That has become a very thorny issue. And in fact, this has led to so many other problems and issues in our region. And of course, this has created a lot of bad blood amongst the communities between the Western community and the Islamic community. And the two countries, at least Pakistan, Turkey, and some other countries also have, of course, we have taken good cognizance of this important issue. And hopefully we will be able to come up with some strategy. And we are very, whenever Honorable President Recep Tayyip Erdogan speaks about this Islamophobia, it's very enlightening, it's very thought-provoking, and it's something which is, of course, which the international community should pay heed to. So another very important challenge, I must say, is this disinformation and fake news. This has become a very, very problematic. In fact, I should call it as a fifth-generation warfare. So the wars are now being fought on social media by having extensive disinformation network. Unfortunately, Turkey and Pakistan, both countries have been a victim of this disinformation and fake news. And this has really caused a lot of, trouble for those who, in fact, are looking for the facts, looking for the what actually is happening on ground. So this challenge of, or let's say, this trend of rising disinformation and fake news has posed a very, I should say, a very strong threat to the growing Muslim countries, especially Turkey and Pakistan. Just one last thing out of these bullets I mentioned is the lowering of threshold of conflicts. In fact, now previously, I mean, in the 60s, 70s, or in the late 80s or 90s, that threshold used to be, a very, there were many important regional events and many important global events where we could witness the play of diplomacy and how those conflicts were managed. But unfortunately, in the last few years, that threshold of conflict, unfortunately, has lowered. And, just on the basis of few reports, few incidents, the new conflicts have been emerging, which otherwise could have been contained. So anyway, we may discuss that more in our question and answer session. Just have a brief look on our region. Unfortunately, both the countries, we are surrounded by a very troublesome region. I'll just give a very brief overview of Pakistan. We have a population of 220 million, and 55% of our population is below the age of 19. The GDP is around $300 billion, which is 1/3 of what the Turkey has at present. Per capita income is satisfactory, but it needs to be at least, grow by another 100% or more, because this still, but considering the population of Pakistan, it still holds a very important position. And then we are the 23rd largest economy in the world in terms of PPP, and 42nd in terms of the nominal GDP. Our approach, like we have mentioned, from geopolitics, we are trying to have more focus on the economics of the that approach. And we have decided not to partake in geopolitical competition and rivalries, and not to be a part of any such conflicts, but to be a partner in peace and prosperity and the development. And this is something which we are vying for in our foreign policy as well. And in fact, how this could be complemented, it is through developing Pakistan's geoeconomic potential, primarily through connectivity, primarily through trade, and a focus on our economic security. So what are the opportunities in connectivity? This is basically, I'm just showing the Pakistan-China economic corridor, one of the largest connectivity project. And I should correlate that with the Turkey's middle corridor. It's very important that the Turkey is now connected. I'll just refer to I think the second or the first slide, in which I mentioned the old Silk Route. So this middle corridor is basically, I won't say revival, it's basically it's one of the very landmark connectivity project which is taking place right now. Of course, it's in its incipient stage. There have been few cargo trains from Istanbul to China, to these places, and not only to China, but they have been cross-stuffing and incorporating all the goods and cargo from these countries across the region. So the same way, this is a lapis lazuli, famous trade route from Afghanistan to Turkey, and it is going to be extended hopefully to China and Pakistan also. This is the resumption of Istanbul, Tehran, and Islamabad cargo train. This train was last operated in 2011. So after 10 years, finally it has been resumed again. Inshallah, next week, the train which left Pakistan about few days before, it will reach Ankara, hopefully by 3rd or 4th of January, and we'll have a formal ceremony also. And from now onwards, we will be having a weekly cargo trains coming from Pakistan to Turkey, and likewise from Turkey to Pakistan through Iran. This is a very significant development, particularly in terms of the recent, the container crisis, the freight and logistics issues. So it is a step towards developing our own cargo service, our own, this train route. We have similarity of issues on the issues of Iran, on the issues of Afghanistan. Recently, just few days before, Pakistan held a very important extraordinary emergency session for the Council of Foreign Ministers of the OIC, in which Turkey also participated very forcefully. And in fact, the two countries have the same we have the same points of view, and we share the same feelings and same approach on the present situation in Afghanistan, which has become now more humanitarian. And if the world community, they do not pay heed towards the growing humanitarian crisis which is taking place, the spillover will not be limited to Pakistan, but it will be it will have its regional repercussion, not only regional, but at some later point, global repercussions also. So Pakistan and Turkey, we share the same perception. We know that these are these threats which are there, and which the challenges which the two countries are facing. Unfortunately, India has become kind of a big obstacle, and with her belligerent and revisionist action which India took, especially in the last 2 years, from February 2019 and this August 5th unilateral action for revoking the special status of Kashmir, has added more challenges, has added more obstructions in having that free flow of the goods and having that amicable, peaceful relations between the two countries. In fact, that dream has been thwarted through this present Modi regime. Jammu and Kashmir is the primarily the dispute. I think everyone knows about that quite well. It's basically the unfinished agenda of the partition of the subcontinent, and it still is one of the oldest agenda on the United Nations Security Council. On our relations, like I mentioned, on the Kashmir issue, on the Armenian issue, Cyprus issue, Afghanistan, Syria, and Palestine, the two countries, we have the similar approach. We share the common perception, we share the common strategy also. And of course, the two countries have demonstrated this support and collaboration at the international fora also. In the UN and in all other international fora, we represent we have the same voice, we have the similar feelings. And the same, likewise, for Pakistan has expressed the same feelings for the issues surrounding Turkey and its regional conflicts. Like I mentioned before, this disinformation networks targeting Pakistan-Turkey cooperation. In fact, I have just quoted some of the news clippings from those disinformation networks, and you can see that how such fake news is being promoted, is being being spread. It's being given likes, it's being spread all across, with having nothing in reality. But look at this fifth generation warfare, I must say, that how it's taking place and how it's creating such a widespread disinformation network, which the two countries now need to work more upon to challenge these disinformation networks and to unearth these networks and to bring reality to the fore. OIC, that in Pakistan and Turkey, we have a very strong voice in OIC. It's basically the Organization of Islamic Countries. The two, Pakistan and Turkey, have been the founding members, and the two countries have played a very important role in the development of that Muslim Brotherhood. Like I mentioned, the D8, the developing 8, these are the countries. Basically, it was the idea of Najmuddin Erbakan. So these important 8 countries, Nigeria, Egypt, Iran, Turkey, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Malaysia, and Indonesia. In fact, these developing 8 countries, they have formed an economic bloc, and hopefully very soon this economic bloc will be culminated into the finalization of a certain tariff, preferential tariff arrangement, not only in the trade and commerce, but in many other fields also. Then we have this ECO, these 10 countries having this economic cooperation organization: Turkey, Iran, Pakistan, the Central Asian republics, and Afghanistan. Another very important organization in our region is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Pakistan is full member, Turkey is the dialogue partner, but this is going to be a very important organization in the future, in at least in the next few decades, as this is going to because the connectivity which we are witnessing, the trends which we are witnessing, these trends, connectivity trends, the growing collaboration on the international fora, in fact, that is pointing towards this particular region: China, Russia, South Asia, West Asia, and of course the Turkey. The Chinese Belt and Road Initiative is very important. Basically, there are 6 economic corridors, and if you can see on the map, this China, Central Asia, West Asia corridor, Turkey is a very important part of this corridor, and we also have China-Pakistan economic corridor. In fact, these two corridors are synergizing, and hopefully in the next few years, you would see a lot of activities across all these corridors in terms of trade, transport, logistics, development of new special economic zones, and collaboration in many other relevant sectors. I'll just skip through this, and the way forward, which I mean, the emerging way forward, which I have been, vying for, is that we need to have more multilateralism, which should lead to a win-win cooperation. Focus should be on common denominators. Luckily, in terms of Pakistan and Turkey, we have not a single point of discord, but we have all the denominators. So we just need to build upon those common denominators, and we have to create the stakeholder interest in that regional integration, be it Afghanistan, Iran, Central Asian republics, or the other countries across the region, be it the North Africa or the Middle East also, because the geography has blessed the both countries. Be taking advantage of that geography and convert, and our approach, like has been, will be to have this geo-economic relationship. And of course, we both countries are vying for the inclusive approach rather than exclusive security framework, which we have recently witnessed in the formation of, let's say, Quad. Quad is 4 member countries, US, India, Australia, and they are basically trying to ward off the new global alliance, the new global, the dominance of few countries. So basically, this is something which is an exclusive security framework. So Turkey and Pakistan, we are vying for an inclusive approach rather than excluding some countries at the cost of a lot of other countries. So diplomacy and negotiated settlements, basically that's the cornerstone of the foreign policy of the two countries. And with this, I will beg leave. And this is one of a very important, very beautiful graffiti, Yaşasın Turkey, Pakistan, Dostluğu and Kardeşim. So this is, you can find on certain vehicles in Pakistan. There are many truck artists which paint such beautiful graffiti on the different walls, on different vehicles. We at one point of time try to do that on the metro buses being run by the Istanbul Baladiye. Hopefully someday we'll do this task also. So thank you very much, Istanbul Ticaret University, Honorable Professor Dr. Yücel, Dr. Uğur Yasin. I'm very grateful to you. I think I'll give now floor to Ms. Tuna Hanim, and after that we'll be open to any question and answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Consul General Bilal Pasha. It was like a very good lecture for both countries and its reflections from historical to current position. And we are very glad to learn, and also our students already benefited what the roots of the Turkish and Pakistani relations already coming from, what are the roots, historical and political reflections towards, and how should we understand these two ties can be strengthened, and what will be the way and the route for this strength. Thank you very much, Mr. Consul General. It was very nice to get all these perspectives from yourself.
I would like to say a couple of words, if you allow me.
Sure.
First of all, I would like to extend my greetings. It was our privilege to host Mr. Bilal Pasha here. As I said at the beginning of the speech, I have to leave the conference, but as you see, I am still here because all the conference was fascinating for me. And it was full of information and knowledge. It was so beneficial for me also, I am sure, for all people who watched this, our students, our academics, and others. My second field is linguistic. When he was talking, I tried to focus on the words Urdu. I found some of them on the slides. I would like to share this, if you allow me. For example, agar,
Allegedly.
agar, if, gam, sorrows, kitap, jang, jang, war, kafile, cihan, tarihi, historical, ticari, commercial, saltanat, sefir, büyükelçi anlamında, sene, safha, phase, ahval, haller, durumlar, ve seher, down.
Yeah.
It is only in some slides I found this common words. As Excellency said this, we have 6,000 common words. It is a big heritage to share together.
Sure. It's like the same family.
Yes. At the time being, I have to leave. I'm very sorry for this. I would like to say one more time, you are welcome. It is our privilege to host our friends, our guests here. Thank you very much for this.
Grateful, honorable. Thank you. Thank you, honorable Director.
You are welcome.
Inshallah.
And it was
Thank you.
pleasure for us,
Görüşmek
as you has already stayed here for more than 1 hour. And thank you very much also from our students to our Rector, Professor Dr. Yücel Oğurlu for his contribution and participation.
You're welcome. Thanks.
And now we are continuing with our distinguished graduate student, Ms. Tuna Çakar, who was also a friend of me while we were both students at İstanbul Ticaret University. And it is also very surprised while our rector informed me that Tuna is also still working for the Pakistan Consul General in Istanbul. And this is why we would like to continue with her experiences when she first started to work at Pakistan Consulate General in Istanbul. But before telling this to us, I would like to kindly introduce her to our distinguished audience. Ms. Tuna Çakar graduated at İstanbul Ticaret University in 2013, February. Then she continued her academic career at İstanbul University with the Master of Business Administration in 2016. From 2010 to present, she is working at Pakistan Consulate General in Istanbul. Now she is the Trade Development Officer at Consulate General, and she is responsible for generating solutions for trade disputes and conflicts between Turkish and Pakistani companies. And she's also gathering and analyzing and also storing information trade analysis of Turkey as compared to Pakistan, reporting trade statistics on monthly, quarterly, and yearly basis as well. And she is also preparing marketing plans of Pakistan for Turkey and trade promotion concerns. Tuna, you are welcome to our program.
Thank you. Thank you for your lovely words, first of all. And I want to intentionally thank to our Honorable Rector, Professor Dr. Yücel Oğurlu, because when he visited our office and when I have shared that I am from the same university, he has opened up with this idea that I might be part of this well-organized event. And you also know we are graduated from the same department. As an international relations student, even the name diplomacy gives us, kind of heart palpitations. What to talk of, being a part of, kind of speech. And I will try to explain my personal experiences. And to be honest, I thought of making a kind of a speech. Then I thought that, it would be very boring for my sisters and brothers who are already studying in international relations. And I think now the department's name also has changed. It is now Political Sciences and International Relations,
yes,
which is a broader aspect also. I will start with my personal journey, and please feel free to add or to interrupt me at any phase. First of all, I got accepted to Istanbul Ticaret University in 2008, actually. And I have just completed 2 years of my university, and it was in the 3rd year, in one fine summer, I heard that the vacancy in the consulate, and my dear my dear friends would remember if they are watching me right now. I was just telling them that I'm applying this job just to have an experience of a business interview, not to talk of want to talk of a kind of acceptance by the consulate. So when I have appeared in the first interview, which was the first phase of the this business deal, let's say, the first question they asked me that you don't have a degree right now, and it was true. Yes, I don't have a degree right now. I'm still a student. Actually, this kindness is already, this kindness already explains what a Pakistani heart can feel for a Turkish heart. And because I was truly very, very young also, like I was like 22 years old without any experience. I was just an enthusiastic girl who was trying to understand the dynamics of diplomacy. And thanks to our lecturers also, because they were encouraging us in the university. And if you remember, most of our lecturers are actually from the job diplomacy. We have ex-ambassadors, diplomats who are teaching in our university. And when I shared this news with them, they were fascinated with, and it's very difficult for lecturers to let a student from the class. So all of them have agreed on that. What I will contribute more on this is that it was a bit difficult in the beginning to manage, because I was studying and I was working full-time. It was not half-time, like part-time job. And thanks to the team, consulate team, and they have supported in every way. Like I'll give you an example that when you're hired by a company or any institute, in the beginning you don't get many leaves, and all my leaves were going for exam weeks. And when the exam week was coming, generally you cannot ask your boss or your supervisor that these are the dates which I want to I want to take leaves. Fine, you can ask that, but in advance they were allowing me to study more. So they were like releasing me 1 day, 2 days, or they were not putting more pressure on me. And during the time I spent here, and with the process of time, I was given extra tasks, and with the guidance, of our consul generals here, then I was introduced to more of the dynamics of the job itself. And if you want to divert the conversation, I can add more on.
Sure. And I'm listening very curiously and also very attentionally, because I'm feeling when you were at university, I remember our days, and it is very proud of us to see that is here more than 10 years and become part of the Pakistani brothers and sisters. And this is why I just would like to ask, how do you suggest for our current students that they can orient their both studies and executions, like the trainees and internships?
That's a good question, actually. And if you remember from our university times, we used to go and attend all those seminars, like think tanks, which would give you a kind of a brainstorming. I personally suggest all my sisters and brothers that the first thing which they have to do is that they should learn a language, because if they want to be in this field, I want to be frank that you have to be fluent at least in English, And if you can acquire another, a language skill, that would be, more beneficial to you. And apart from this, if they can divert their interests, like the way I did in the period of time that in the beginning, simply I was doing translation. Apart from translation, I was given by some, extra tasks to do researches, or some kind of other, report-related activities. What I found for myself is that, international trade, under the roof of diplomacy is something which attracts me. So, if anybody who can decide the interest and get the relevant courses accordingly, or the I won't say internships, but kind of seminars, workshops, they should focus on one specific area.
Yes, thank you very much, Tuna, for your contribution and experience share to our contemporary students for their development. And I do wish to harbor you at our university with our students, with the also distinguished Consul General Bilal Pasha. We would be very pleased. And the next term will start at 7th of February. And then we will very ready to organize this event. And we will be very pleasure to do this. And before ending the program, I would like to ask a question to Mr. Consul General also. The question relates to, as we understand, there are lots of cooperations between two countries, and one of the rising one is the military. As we see, lastly, 30 attack helicopters already sent to the Pakistan, and also here the fourth ship will be also sent to the brotherhood country Pakistan. And how do you see the cooperation on education affairs? I mean, how Pakistani students can come and take their education at Turkish universities, or Turkish students can go to Pakistan. And in addition to question, it was the second one, relates to cultural ties on serious industries. As we know, the Diriliş Ertuğrul is very famous at Pakistan. And also one of my Pakistani colleagues informed me that they are building one blue city in Pakistan. It is like a cultural plateau. And they invited me there also. Please come and see what we already did for Turkish cities, how you can see the differences or the similarities. And the second one is from those perspective. You can combine these two questions up to your preferences. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In fact, I'll answer your second question first.
Yes, please.
I'm not sure whether you have seen the latest statistics or not, but this Diriliş Ertuğrul and now even this series on Usman also, they have crossed almost all the records of viewership in Pakistan. Not only in Pakistan, but the viewership in Pakistan has overall crossed the maximum number of any country around the world to watch these Turkish two serials. But these basically, of course, Diriliş Ertuğrul played a very important role in further popularizing the popularity of the Turkish drama serial. But before that, even the Turkish drama serials in Pakistan, I have seen those in 2010, 12, and 14. Rather, there is one channel. It's called, I think, Urdu TV, which regularly hosts the Turkish series. So yes, these two drama serials, especially Ertuğrul, played a very important part in let's say in developing that inquisitiveness amongst the Pakistani audience. And if I correlate that with the statistics of tourism and those Pakistanis who have been coming from Pakistan to Turkey, honestly, you can really correlate that with this drama series Atrul, as the number of viewership and the number of tourists coming from Pakistan to Turkey have increased manifold.
Yeah.
You go to South, the place where Atrul Ghazi where there is tomb of Atrul Ghazi, and they will tell you the maximum number of people who are visiting that place are around, let's say, 80 or 90% are from Pakistan. So yes, this is, and in fact, this is something which on which we should further cement upon. See, there is a lot of potential of cultural collaboration. The two film industries, the media industry in Turkey and Pakistan should have more collaboration, should have more, let's say, co-production, co-drama serials, exploring each other countries, the potential of tourism, or having a lot of, there is a lot, many other, because such people-to-people contact. In fact, that should be the bedrock of our relationship. Now, you must have heard that the Honorable Turkish President, he announced, I think last year in the UN, that the Turkey, Pakistan, Malaysia, and Qatar will be launching a joint TV channel also, primarily to cater for this menace of Islamophobia. So, by the way, a lot of work has been done on that aspect. Also, you will find certain developments in future. There is at least 2 co-productions in film, which at least I'm aware of. One is being on Sultan Salahuddin Ayyubi. There is one company from Turkey, one from Pakistan, which is trying to co-produce this drama serial. Then there, of course, there is another project like this Turk Lala, which I mentioned, Abdul Rahman Peshawari. So hopefully, inshallah, in coming weeks or months, this collaboration will grow further. But I should give the due credit to, like you have mentioned, to Dilish Atrul. So Atrul has played, like Atrul was the, let's say, the founder of Ottoman Empire. I think his serial is the let's say founder of that cultural relationship between the two countries. Now, your first question for the defense cooperation, yes. And when I mentioned that disinformation network and fake news, there are so many detractors of Pakistan-Turkey defense cooperation also, and they have been doing their level best to not let these two countries collaborate, cooperate in so many other defense-related industry. But having said that, there has been a strong political will coupled with that strong military high-level collaboration and cooperation, which is posing a strong challenge to these detractors. And hopefully, these detractors will not be able to put any dent in our security and defense relationship. That relationship is even otherwise is bound to grow. Why? Because the territories in which these two countries are located, we are having a constant, we are facing constant conflicts. Like in case of Pakistan, on our eastern side is India, and that Kashmir issue. On the western side is Afghanistan, and then with Turkey, the whole area is surrounded by, of course, your friends also, but some of those countries which pose a lot of challenge also. So this has, like I mentioned, that has acted as a common denominator in our that defense relationship, and that defense relationship is now growing to, having that counter-terrorism relationship in terms of our collaboration in security establishment. So I see a growing collaboration in future. But like the other day, the Turkish president was mentioning, I think yesterday, in his speech for this scientific and industrial research on that particular topic, and he was very right that we should have our own indigenous resources, be it the Industrial Revolution 4, be it the robotics, the artificial intelligence, cloud computing, drones, defense technology. And in fact, if we have that very good human resource available both in Pakistan and Turkey, so let's put our faith in that human resource and let's support that. So we will be witnessing a lot of, inshallah, in future collaboration in this particular area. Lastly, you mentioned about the collaboration amongst the education institutions. There have been a few. I mean, there are a lot of students. First of all, thanks to the Turkish Higher Education Commission, every year, around 150 students, they get the scholarship for their education in Turkey for the postgraduate studies. But besides that, there has been a growing trend of Pakistani students attending their courses in different Turkish universities. At present, there are around 3,000 students from Pakistan who are having their studies in universities in Ankara, in Izmir, in Istanbul also. But what we would also like to see is more collaboration amongst the universities, amongst the research institutes, among, let's say, your center and the corresponding center in Pakistan, which is having the similar research. And this is what I also proposed out to the Honorable Rector, that we have this Pakistan Institute of Trade and Development. It's an official training institute for the commerce and trade professionals, which also imparts the diplomatic skills training. So we can have some sort of a collaboration between your center and the Pakistan Institute of Trade and Development, of course, with some other universities, similar organizations. But yes, in this particular area, we need to do more. There is no doubt. And you are very right that this is one area which deserves now our more attention.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Consul General, with your very detailed response. And it was also the contributing part of your presentation. And it was very beneficial for all of our students and audiences that they can directly learn what are the roots, history, and its reflections on both sectors between two countries, and how the upcoming steps can become from two sides, because the grant is already set and the opportunities are still very strong. That should be made with a plan and with a political will, which is most significant issue in that meeting. As you mentioned, the political will of two countries are very strong, but we should also strengthen this political will with specific sectoral partnerships and common goods for two distinguished countries. And now I would like to conclude the program. Again, I am very thankful for both of you as participating in this program, which is organizing by the Istanbul Ticaret University Rectorate and the Research Center for Neighboring Countries and Regions. It was very pleasure to host all of you at this distinguished program. And now I would like to give the last sentences to you as you would like to contribute and conclude. Yes, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Professor, my brother. But there's one point I think I missed during my presentation, and that was, it's a request rather from my side that, mashallah, your center has been contributing a lot. Ms. Tuna Hanim showed me some the links, and yes, the research which is being carried out by your organization, by your center. So I would request that if you can have, ask some of the students who can do more research, in particularly in the context which I have mentioned. We will support those students in their thesis, in their dissertation,
very nice,
their research, and let us also benefit from from their thought process, from what they feel, from what they think, because this is something in which the participation of our next generation is very important. Sure. The next generation, both in Turkey and Pakistan, should not forget the common tradition, culture, or heritage which the two countries we inherit, and which we should promote and prosper if we have to be really a good force amongst the Committee of Nations. So this is one request which, if you find feasible, sure, we'll be happy to support and sponsor those students also. So once again, I'm very thankful to you, to the Honorable Rector, to your center, for giving me this opportunity. Pardon for the technical glitches. We always learn. Hopefully next time it should be in person, physical.
Inshallah.
And that will, of course, give us more opportunity to have this face-to-face conversation with your students, with the honorable faculty also. So, but honestly, I enjoyed preparing my presentation for this very important webinar or event. And I hope, and I'm very hopeful this is going to be the
It
this is not going to be the first and the last drop of that Yamor, but it should continue, and we should build upon and develop some common programs, and inshallah maybe next time we may ask someone from Pakistan also to join and to give perspective from Pakistan in regard to what they feel while sitting in Pakistan of the historic relation and the emerging way forward. So thank you very much once again.
You're welcome. It is pleasure and honor for us as you holding here with Tuna Çakar, and also dear distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Today we had very significant and very contributions on both relations, and it was so effective presentation by Mr. Consul General Bilal Pasha. And again, thank you very much for your distinguished contributions. And it is a good result for this program that the Pakistani brothers will support the research of both topics, and we will be sustaining this. And if you would like to currently be in our campus, that we can organize some specific meeting on those research opportunities, that will be also very helpful for us to strengthen this research cooperation. And again, thank you very much for all your supports, and dear administration staff to our university. Thank you very much, and see you inshallah physically at our campus.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you.